The Tostitos Bowl Bash continues tonight from Miami. The FedEx Orange Bowl, the Louisville Cardinals, and the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. And Happy New Year. Welcome to South Florida. Matt Vasgersian, joined by one of the voices of Notre Dame football on NBC, Pat Hayden, and Hall of Famer Terry Donahue. Coach, we start with you. A big act to follow tonight after the late magic of the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl yesterday. The ACC champs, the Big East champs tonight. Break it down for us.
Well, Louisville's a great offensive football team, and they can generate an awful lot of points. If Wake Forest is going to win, they've got to play great defense, and they have to play well early. They kind of have to absorb that Louisville offensive team. It's a shock and awe offense. And I think you do that by keeping the ball in front of you, not giving up big plays, make Louisville work for everything they get. If you play good defense and you have a good kicking game when you're a heavy underdog like Wake Forest, you can win this football game.
All right, well, we'll turn to our quarterback to talk about quarterback play tonight. Couple of good ones on the field tonight, Pat.
Indeed. But, really different styles. They're asked to do much different things in their respective offenses. Biran Brohn, the University of Louisville quarterback in his junior year, he is asked really to carry the offense, sometimes win the game. Battled through some injuries, finished the season very strongly, 10 touchdown passes the last 3 games. I think those were his best throws, where he's throwing the ball deep downfield and attacking, and boy, does he have a bevy of good receivers. His counterpart from Wake Forest, Riley Skinner, started the season as the third-team quarterback, but led them to an 11-2 record. An unconventional offense, won a lot of reverses. Riley out leading the way there, as you see. 70 runs by the wide receiver, so indeed it is unconventional, but kind of following up on Terry's theme, I think Riley needs to get off to a very good start in the terms of possessing the ball, keeping the ball away from Louisville, trying to make this a close game going into the fourth quarter where they've won 4 games in the last minute.
Here come the Louisville Cardinals. Time to check in with the 4th member of our broadcast team, Laura Oakman.
Thanks, Matt. I'm here with Coach Bobby Petrino, and all you've had is a month to think about it, to talk about it, to get ready for it. What's the last thing you told your guys coming out here, Coach?
We just got to come out and play Louisville Cardinal football. Get started fast and play the game the way it's supposed to be played. Very physical, by the rules, from whistle to whistle.
With so much adversity this year, you've said throughout the season, we need to find our identity. Who do you want to see tonight?
I want to see our offense get out, start fast, get the ball in the end zone, and our defense really play fast, and hopefully we can force them to throw the ball so we can get after the quarterback.
You ready for this game?
I'm ready to go.
Get out of here.
Thank you.
Coach. Good luck.
All
Matt,
right, Laura,
back to you.
thank you. The Wake Forest Demon Deacon. Well, Wake Forest has won the toss, and Jim Grobe has already pulled an upset. He told some people before this thing that if he won the toss, he would play defense. Instead, he elects to receive the football, so Bobby Petrino's Cardinals will kick it away. And some of the magic of the FedEx Orange Bowl, we haven't even started the game yet. And these BCS games are nothing if not all about great pageantry and moments, and we haven't even begun the game before we had a great one tonight.
It was interesting. We heard Jim Grobe in the locker room, Matt, as he addressed his team, said, hey, guys, play like your hair's on fire, and the kicking game is going to win it for us. And it starts right here as they receive this kickoff.
And he also said, take care of the football, right? That's how Wake Forest has survived all season long with their turnover margin, their kicking game, and playing good defense. They've got to take care of that football tonight. Let Louisville be the team that turns it over. That's how they get the upset.
One of the 2 Cardinals kickers, Todd Flannery, set to kick it away. And the 73rd annual FedEx Orange Bowl is underway from Miami. This is Kevin Marion trying to stay in bounds and doing so unsuccessfully as his momentum carried him out at the 12. So Riley Skinner and the Wake offense will begin the day at the 12-yard line. And Skinner, the ACC Rookie of the Year, one of the best stories in college football. As you mentioned at the top, Pat, he was number 3 on the depth chart on opening day, but injuries and necessity forced Skinner in there. And you fast forward to January, and he's had a fantastic year.
You know, incredibly accurate, 66% completion rate, won 11 games.
Kenneth Moore and Rich Beltner in the backfield with Skinner. The Jacksonville native will take it out of the shotgun, hand it to Kenneth Moore, the converted wideout, and he is stuffed immediately by Amobi Okoye. That's me, Wake Forest up front. All-American senior Steve Vallis has started every game in his career. He'll play both sides of the line, and they've done a great job keeping the redshirt freshman QB clean. Backs and receivers, almost everybody carries the ball here. Wake has more players with over 150 rushing yards than any other Division I-A team in the country.
Yeah, you know, they've run a lot of reverses, misdirection. Some teams call them trick plays, but this is part of the Wake offense.
After a pickup of 1 second and 9 now. Skinner with a little time, and the pass is caught by Nate Morton, breaking a tackle. First down, Demon Deacons. Finally forced out of bounds by Nate Harris. Let's meet Louisville's defensive front. 39 sacks, second in the nation. They're led by the man you just saw, the 19-year-old senior and unanimous All-Big East first-teamer, Amobi Okoye. The linebackers, Nate Harris, the Cardinals' leading tackler. Among the 23 Floridians on the roster, he's the only Miami native. And in the secondary, Cards lost senior corner Gavin Smart to a broken leg in practice this week, so Rod Council gets a start in the secondary. A fumble in the backfield. Willie Idlett moving backwards, and he's taken down at the 5.
You know, Terry, I think you worry about bowl games. It's like really an opening game. Again, you know, you've been off for an entire month, and even though this is part of their offense, they've been doing this all year. It's like an opening game, and you worry about the miscues.
Well, it looks like it's a perfect handoff, really. And you're right, Pat. After you've laid off a while, you accumulate some rust. Yeah. And you got to get that rust off you. Certainly, this kind of a position for Wake Forest's offense puts them behind the 8 ball. This is a difficult place to be for them. They don't want to be in long yardage situations.
They're in a 2nd and 29 now. Up the middle is Rich Belton, the fullback. Ball comes loose.
Called it down, I believe.
Whistled dead, however, at the 20-yard line. Nate Harris made the hit that popped the ball free.
Well, Wake Forest has gotten off to a very rough start. They mishandled the opening kickoff. Should have let it go out of bounds. Here you can see the runner is clearly down before the ball comes out, but they've already had loose balls all over the field. And one of the last things Jim Grobe told his team, take care of the football, right?
Yeah, you're right. And, you know, in Louisville is just as aggressive on defense, Matt. You mentioned the 39 sacks by 17 different players. This is a down. They can really get after Riley Skinner.
Louisville's got the nickel package on the field. They have been very good on third down defense. Blitz gets picked up. Skinner throws. He's got a man, and the reception made at the 45 by Willie Idlett.
I think the toughest thing for a quarterback to do, Terry, is just kind of hang in there in the pocket in the midst of all those bodies flying around and blitzes and rushes. And Riley Skinner did just that. And Idlett, a little corner route. And again, Riley Skinner doesn't necessarily have a gun for an arm, but boy, is he accurate.
And what a great throw. Either Idlett catches the ball or nobody catches the ball. A perfect throw by Riley Skinner.
This is Kenneth Moore changing directions. And nobody fooled on the Louisville Cardinal defense. Malik Jackson snuffed it out early.
You know, you talk about Malik Jackson, number 11 for Louisville. This is a guy, you talk so much about Louisville's offense, but Malik Jackson on defense has been phenomenal. Again, now misdirection play. Watch number 11 for Louisville just fighting off the block of the quarterback. Riley Skinner, often not hard to do, fighting off the quarterback's block. But Malik Jackson, 8 sacks. He had 14 tackles for loss, forced a couple fumbles, recovered a couple, blocked a kick. Malik Jackson's done everything for the Louisville defense this year.
So 3rd and 17. Moore the lone back with Skinner. Overthrown just out of reach, intended for Willie Idlett. And that'll bring on the punting unit for Wake. Zach Anderson, the guy that penetrated gave Skinner trouble there.
Yeah, again, Riley Skinner pretty solid in the pocket. Again, just trying a two-deep zone, trying to get the guy right down the middle, just a little bit of high because of the coverage by A. Brown, 43, the middle linebacker, forced him to throw it a little bit high.
And the other thing about Wake Forest, they generated some first downs.
Yep.
They ate up some clock, and they got some field position. So, you know, even though they didn't handle the ball with a lot of skill that first series, they did do some good things, and field position is going to be key.
Yeah, now comes the tough part.
Sam Swank with a big booming punt. Trent Guy calls for the fair catch. Back from Miami is Biran Brohn, the Cardinals offense, who go to work for the first time tonight. The four-time Big East Player of the Week, already fourth on the all-time passing list at Louisville. Completing a fantastic junior year. A two tight end set for him as he pitches to George Stripling, who surges forward to the 30-yard line, a gain of 5 on the carry. John Abate making the tackle for Wade. Well, Bobby Petrino's offense, as we talk about at the Open, guys, is among the hottest, the biggest, the scariest in the nation.
Yeah, and they've got wide receivers and a tight end. All three of those guys can get deep very quickly.
Credit Stripling with only 3 yards on that initial carry. That pass complete to Harry Douglas, who led the nation in receiving yards in November and December. Let's meet the rest of the Louisville offense up front. Even with the great skill position talent, Bobby Petrino calls this group the strength of his offense. Bussey, Quarterman, and Foster, all Big East first teamers. Backs and receivers, so much firepower here. Urruti and Douglas, NFL level talents. Colby Smith at tailback. One of 3 thoroughbreds that'll rotate in and out there. We've already seen George Stripling in the backfield.
Yeah, those 3 guys combined for almost 1,600 yards in replacing Michael Bush, who was injured in the first game.
They split Stripling out wide. And on 1st and 10, Brohn looking downfield, flushed out on the move. He's not going to make anybody forget about Michael Vick, but he gets up to the 45-yard line. The Demon Deacons up front on defense. Giles Tucker voted by his teammates as Wake's best athlete. He's also their sack leader with 6. The linebacking core, you saw John Abate, just the 3rd player in ACC history to lead his team in tackles as a freshman, sophomore, and junior. And in the secondary, the Deacs lead the nation with 22 interceptions. 5th-year senior safeties Gaddis and G have been outstanding all year long. Colby Smith in the backfield now on 2nd and 4. And the hand is to the Cardinals' leading rusher, who bounces off a tackle and is taken down at the 49 by Riley Swanson and John Russell.
One thing the Wake Forest defense is going to try to do is make Louisville one-dimensional. They're going to load up with a lot of 8-man fronts. They have really good safeties, and they're going to go ahead and try to get Biran Brohn to have to beat them. I know that sounds strange with an outstanding quarterback like that.
But you know what, Terry? He can. I mean, he can beat him with his right arm. I mean, I know every coach says, hey, we want to stop the run, but Biran Brohn can beat you with his right arm and good decision-making.
Once again, the Cardinals split George Stripling out wide at the top of your screen, so a 4-receiver set. Empty backfield here for Brohn.
Harry Douglas is the guy I think is going to cause Wake some problems.
There he goes again, taken down at the 41-yard line after another 7-yard pickup. John Abate on the tackle.
Biran Brohn is surprisingly mobile. And, you know, I saw this a couple weeks ago when they played against Connecticut earlier in the year. I mean, he's a big old guy, 6'4", almost 230 pounds.
Now, this is what Wake's defense has got to do. It's got to survive the shock and awe of the Louisville offense. You know, they're already across the 50. They're on the 41-yard line. You know, the quarterback's making some plays with his legs. They're able to run the ball. Wake's got to get them stopped and give up 3 points, and certainly not 7.
This is Allen, and the ball's loose. Allen tries to jump on it. A scrum at the 39. Wake says they've got it.
Well, that's the 15th fumble of the year that Louisville has lost. 1 negative offensive stat they've had. Terry, you talked about it.
Demon Deacon football. You know, it sounds cliche when you hear a coach saying we've got to force turnovers to win a game like this. So far, so good for the underdog Demon Deacons. Kevin Patterson jumped on the fumble, and Wake's offense will take over in good field position. 6:54 left in the first quarter, and Wake Forest, with its outstanding success at forcing turnovers at +14, fourth best in the nation. They're at it again tonight as Aaron Curry knocked the ball free defensively, and that puts Riley Skinner back on the field to start things at the 39. Double tight end set. The hand is to Moore on the misdirection, good for a gain of a couple of yards.
The game has started quite well for Wake Forest. What do you think, Coach? Just the way they wanted?
Yeah, I really do. I think, they mishandled the ball in their opening drive a few times. They got fortunate. Louisville wasn't quite as fortunate losing the turnover. Wake was a little more fortunate early, but I think Wake Forest has got to be very pleased with only 6 minutes left in the first quarter. They've got the ball on the 42-yard line. That's a good thing for Wake Forest.
Skinner throwing on 2nd and 7, and he's got Nate Morton again for a first down. Nate Morton, a guy that they didn't know they were going to have tonight necessarily. He hurt himself in practice with a dislocated finger. He was questionable just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I don't think he was questionable. They said he wasn't going to play. Good pickup block by Kenny Moore. Good out route by Nate Morton. Kind of a versatile guy. Caught touchdowns. He's thrown touchdowns. He's run for touchdowns. Like all these wide receivers at Wake Forest, they're asked to do a lot of things.
The hand is to Rich Belton, the fullback carrying, and he's dropped after no gain. After a gain of 2 on the Belton carry, 2nd and 8 now. Play action, Skinner hanging on and running for dear life. Down he goes again. Abe Brown got to him here.
They got Abe Brown coming in. You also have Moby, Okoye.
One of the things that the Wake Forest offensive line, they're going to have difficulty all night long with this Louisville defense. This defense is built for speed. They want to run. They don't want to slow down. And the thing that they're going to do is, the hardest thing that they have to do is try to keep leverage on the ball. And they have eliminated Wake Forest's ability to run sweeps and counter plays.
Last time there was a scoreless first quarter at the FedEx Orange Bowl. The game ended with 69 total points. The start of the second quarter, Kenneth Moore, the ball carrier, and taken down at the 26 by Brandon Cox. And guys, we talked about this getting out to the break. You don't see scoreless first quarters in the FedEx Orange Bowl very often. But the last time we saw one of these scoreless firsts, the game ended with a whole lot of points as Tom Brady's Michigan Wolverines put up 69 combined points with Alabama in 2000.
Yeah, Tom Brady keeps doing it too, doesn't he?
I'll tell you what, these two teams, I think, are just warming up. This is the calm before the storm.
You think you're going to get 69 points today? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I think they'll score some points.
Sam Swank would settle for 3, and from 44 yards out, Swank is up and good. Jim Grobe's Demons on the scoreboard first in Miami. Time now for the Nissan Sports Shift. Prior to 2006, Louisville and Wake Forest were better known as basketball schools, but this season they have enjoyed quite a shift.
They're playing basket.
In terms of Louisville hoop, how about Wes Unseld, Dr. Duncanstein, Purvis Ellison of more recent vintage. And for Wake, we go back to Billy Packer, Little Muggsy Bogues. Tim Duncan put the program really on the map in the middle 90s. Maybe the most underrated player in the NBA today. Josh Howard, Chris Paul.
I think that Tim Duncan's going to make it. I really do.
Think he's going to have a future?
I think he's going to have a nice career.
But, applications for admission spiked at Wake in the middle 90s when that basketball program was going gangbusters. And it's happened again with the football program as good as it's been this year. This is Juwan Spillman from the end zone and tackled just outside the 15-yard line.
Well,
Handoff is to Colby Smith on the delay out past the 20, tackled at the 21-yard line.
One of the things that's happening in this game, guys, is that Louisville's had such poor field position. And no matter how aggressive you are as a signal caller, you're not quite as aggressive when you're inside your own 20 as you are when you're outside your own 20. So Bobby Petrino, that's one of the difficulties he's had. He just hasn't had good field position to kind of open up his playbook.
Brock Bolin is the lone back for Louisville here on 2nd and 4. The toss is to Bolin. And forging forward to the 26-yard line before being tackled by you-know-who John Abadi. All ACC, and he's a guy that defensive coordinator Dean Hood calls his NFL films guy. Beat up, bloody, always on the ball, but there's much more to this story, and for that we check in with Laura Oakman.
There's so much more, Matt. After John Abadi's little brother Luke died in a car accident last February, John couldn't even get out of bed. He stopped going to classes, stopped going to football practice. His parents had to tag team, taking turns going to Winston-Salem just to make sure he got out of bed. But he now honors his brother by living and playing football, changing his number, we all know, from 40 to 5.
Laura, thanks. It's one of those stories that goes from really a tough one to absorb to an uplifting story. The fact that John has been able to deal with the loss of his brother and is having such a fine junior year.
Well, they pay a tribute to him right at the beginning of the 4th quarter every game.
Passing on 3rd and short, and that one's batted away. Jeremy Thompson from the right end got the big meat hook up in the air and swatted it down.
Jeremy Thompson is a guy that doesn't flash much, doesn't make a lot of necessary plays you notice, but the coaches always say when you watch the tape the next day, Jeremy Thompson shows up.
So on 3rd and short now, 3rd and short, the nickel package on the field for Wade.
3rd about 6.
3rd and 6, not so short at all. And Brohn looking down center field. He's got an open target. The catch is made at the 46-yard line. Harry Douglas, the all Big East wideout, on the reception.
Okay, this is the guy that Bobby Petrino was saying, hey, I don't think that Wake Forest has seen the kind of speed that Harry Douglas has. Deep in, which means he's getting really good protection. And, as a quarterback, what you appreciate about that route, he didn't drift off into center field, came right down the line, snagged the ball with his hands, didn't bobble it, picked up a 1st down.
This is the kind of offense that folks certainly watching back in Kentucky are used to moving down the field. Off play action now. Brohn lets it fly. Yerudia out of bounds at the 36.
Terry, great protection for Biran Brohn. We talk about all these athletes outside and the tight end and such, but 3 all Big East offensive linemen. Look at the time that Biran Brohn has to throw in that big throwing lane.
Well, and Yerudia runs a really nice out route, just hangs there on the sideline. The ball is put in a perfect position. It's a great throw, really, by Biran Brohn.
The pitch is to Anthony Allen, looking for some running room around the left side and taken down at the 20-yard line.
One of the reasons they score 40 points a game is these wide receivers and tight ends who get up the field and are able to make a lot of big plays and good after the catch as well. Big averages per catch by the 2 wide receivers and the tight end. That's perhaps the most dangerous guy. Look at Harry Duggan, over 18 yards. Yerudia 17, and the tight end, Gary Barnage, over 17.
Douglas is so smooth. He glides when he comes out of his breaks. A very gifted, quick athlete.
2nd and 5 now. It's Anthony Allen again, picking his way up the line and tackled after a gain of 2.
One thing that's apparent, Wake Forest is better against the run defense than certainly I anticipated. I thought with that huge offensive line, Pat, you've mentioned 3 of those guys are all Big East. The center, Eric Woods, he's 2nd team all Big East. I mean, they've got really a good offensive line. Right now, they're not really able to knock Wake off the ball. So, as they anticipated, Biran Brohn is having to win this game and move the ball for him.
Brohn can't find a target and finally has to spike it in front of his intended receiver, Mario Yerudia. This is not supposed to be the way this game went down, guys. If you were going to find a weakness on the Demon Deacons defense, it's their pass defense. They were stout against the run this year, 72nd in the nation versus the pass, but they're giving Brohn all kinds of trouble in that he hasn't had a lot of open targets tonight.
Well, a couple things. They put a lot of pressure on the quarterback this year. They did come in with 30 sacks and have had 22 interceptions this season.
Art Carmody is 10 of 10 from 40 or more. This one from 41. And good to tie us at 3. Count that as a big win for the Demon Deacons. A low scorer in Miami tonight. A 3-3 tie with 8:30 left in the half. Back alongside Terry Donahue and Pat Hayden. Matt Vasgersian, not the big scorer that we were thinking we might see right out of the chute. After all, you know, Bobby Petrino's Louisville Cardinals had scored on their opening drive in 6 of 12 games, but they've been shut down tonight so far.
Well, Terry thought it was a high-scoring game. I thought it was going to be 3-3 right about this point, actually. Remember that, Terry?
Listen, Jim Grove and Wake Forest love this game right now. They're loving it.
Kick will bounce into the end zone as Kevin Marion lets it roll. Wake will take over at the 20-yard line. First ever conference championship for Wake since 1970. Back-to-back 4-7 seasons. Picked to finish last by many of the alleged experts. This is Kenneth Moore on the reception in the flag.
You know, Jim Grove is a guy with a plan. You know, came in 6 years ago, and he has a very patient administration and athletic director, Terry, and I think that was key. How many coaches, you know, in today's high-stakes football could go 24-32 in their first 5 years and survive their 6th year to turn it around and go 11-2?
Yeah, and I think his plan is to redshirt everybody that comes into the program, which really helps him with his experience, and he's got a lot of coaches who've worked for him for a long time.
Not a sweep, but back up the middle is Kenneth Moore. Nate Harris makes the tackle after a gain of a couple of yards.
You know, going back to Jim Grove, he talked about his staff that's been with him 12, 14 years, and he said that it's really helped him kind of relax and take some pressure off himself and to have a more balanced life. He spends more time with his family, his wife, because he has such confidence that his coaches are getting it done for him.
Takes a walk with his wife every day at noon, even during the season.
3rd and 10. Skinner flushed out, lets it fly, incomplete.
A good defensive series for Louisville. Very good defensive series when they needed it. We're going to get good field position after this punt by Wake Forest, and then Biran Brohn has got to get hot.
A couple things about Louisville's defense. One, they've totally shut down Wake's running game. Right now, Wake has minus 20 yards rushing. And number 2, they've kept great leverage on the ball, so all the misdirections and the reverses have dried up on Wake Forest. That's a real problem going forward.
Short kick by Sam Swank as Jawan Spillman returns and goes to his knee at the 46-yard line. Just a 27-yard punt, and good field position for the Cardinals when we come back. Well, in our meetings with Bobby Petrino, he was every bit aware as to how good the pass defense of the Demon Deacons could be. Leading the nation in interceptions. They've held opponents to 14 points or less in 8 of 13 games. They've been very stout here tonight. This is Colby Smith up ahead to the 40-yard line. Louisville starts the possession, however, in great field position after the gain of 7.
And that's what you like on first down. When you call a solid running play like that, you generate 6, 7 yards. Now it's easy to call offense on second down. That's when the signal caller can be loose and do the things he wants to do.
A gain of 6 by Smith on that first down carry. Brown has not had a lot of open targets tonight. There's one. Harry Douglas with yards after the catch, and finally dragged out of bounds by Patrick G. That's that Steve Smith skill set that Harry Douglas brings to the Cardinals. A lot of yards after the catch.
Yeah, I think they're going to run him at Churchill Downs the first weekend of May. This, you know, he's got incredible speed, does Harry Douglas. Remember, Bobby Petrino was saying he's so good after the catch, no waste. As soon as he caught that ball, he turned and picked up, what, another 12 yards?
Yeah, and I think Kevin Patterson and Riley Swanson and Alfonso Smith, the 3 corners for Wake, they've played well early, but they're going to have their hands full as this game keeps unfolding. There's so much speed on the field for Louisville.
And you're really down here at the bottom of the screen. They haven't used any double moves yet.
They swing it out to Patrick Carter, looking to throw the football. He's got a wide open receiver. Touchdown Cardinals. Anthony Allen out of the backfield. A 21-yard touchdown strike from the wideout to the tailback. The Carmody PAT is good. What were you saying earlier, Coach Donahue, about shock and awe?
Well, you know, I really expected the trick plays to come from Wake Forest, not from Louisville. And Louisville laid one on them there with the throwback to the tailback.
Todd Flannery to kick it away. This is Kevin Marion on the return. And tripped up at the 21-yard line.
Important series here right now for Wake Forest, man. You know, you can't let this game get out of hand with about 5 minutes left in the first half.
Here comes the blitz. It gets picked up as Skinner's pass on first down is caught at the 30-yard line by Willie Idolette.
Good opening play by Riley Skinner. You know, both these quarterbacks, sons of quarterbacks. Riley Skinner's father played quarterback at Georgia Tech. Biran Brohn's father played quarterback at Louisville. And, you know, as we watch Riley Skinner, Steve Labotsky, the offensive coordinator, was saying to us earlier this week, he said, I've never seen a guy throw it more accurately than Riley Skinner.
Wake has 2 timeouts left. Skinner looking downfield. And gets it complete past midfield to Kevin Marion.
Tell you, the thing about Riley Skinner, watch how his eyes are always downfield. It is so hard in there when there's an internal clock saying you've got to get rid of this ball. He didn't run, he didn't panic. Nice catch there by Kevin Marion.
Really nice job by Kevin Marion, just hanging on the sideline. Again, being a great outlet receiver for Riley Skinner. And Skinner, remember the last drive Wake had before the fumble, he hit some balls. He's getting hot.
Skinner keeps his cool, dumps it off across the 40-yard line to Nate Morton, where he gets out of bounds. Again, 2 timeouts left, and they're going to need a little bit of additional yardage to get it into Sam Swank territory.
You know, we talk a lot about Idolette and Marion, their speed, but watching Wake Forest practice, Nate Morton was the guy that jumped out at me. I just thought he was a big physical receiver, great hands. He's got some running ability. I really like him as a player. He's a leading receiver.
D'Angelo Bryant in the backfield with Skinner. Again, another dump off. Willie Idolette out of bounds at the 30-yard line. So 6 seconds left on the halftime clock. William Gay, the man that ran him out of bounds. Bear in mind that Sam Swank has kicked 6 of the 10 longest field goals in Wake Forest history.
5 of 7 from beyond 50 yards this year. As a matter of fact, at North Carolina State, he had 3 field goals over 50 yards.
His longest this year from 53. This is a 47-yard kick. John Temple, the holder. Again, Swank's long this year, 53. This from 47 yards away. No good. As the final seconds will tick away here in the first half. The lowest scoring first half of the FedEx Orange Bowl since 2001 when Oklahoma led Florida State 6-0 at halftime. Stay with us. The blockbuster Total Access halftime show is coming up next. Welcome back. We're at halftime at the FedEx Orange Bowl in Miami with Louisville on top of Wake Forest 10-3. You've got to consider that first half for the Demon Deacons a win. Their pass defense in particular in the first half, Pat, was outstanding.
Well, remember, Louisville is a team that averages almost 300 yards passing per game, but they have really been shut down. It's literally been a combination, I think, Matt, of good coverage. You see terrific coverage there and a good tackling, and then you combine that with a pass rush. Biran Brohn has just not had much of an opportunity to find anything downfield, and that has been the biggest surprise of the first half for me.
Well, Coach, they've got to get into the end zone at some point, though, Wake. Even though their defense has been stout, offensively they've been challenged tonight.
Yeah, you know, Wake's not been able to run the ball at all. And, you know, I know they don't want Riley Skinner to have to win the game, but he's hit 10 of 13 passes. He's kind of hot, and if they're going to win this game, I think Wake Forest has to start throwing the ball because they just can't run the ball against this Louisville defense. This defense is a little bit underrated. You know, the offense gets all the publicity, but the reality of it is this is a good defensive football team for Louisville.
Wake scored first on a field goal in the first half, and bear in mind that Jim Grobe is undefeated this year when the Demon Deacons score first. They do trail at half here. And as we take a look at our first half stats brought to you by Ford, you know, these two teams are really different on paper. Wake Forest doesn't really impress you on paper. Louisville does. But tonight, they look strikingly similar.
And again, we've talked so much about the Demon Deacon defense. Rushing yards, only 5 to Deacon. Matt, I'll tell you one thing that Louisville does that most teams don't do. They actually script their opening drive for the second half. They do this at halftime. And they've been awfully good this year. They script their first 6 plays and have put pressure on defenses this entire season in the opening drive of the second half.
Kickoff will be kneed upon in the end zone, and Juwan Spillman will take the touchback as Louisville goes to work to start the second half. And we check in once again with Laura Oakman.
All right, Matt, the coaches are echoing what you guys are saying. Bobby Petrino, you don't hear this often. He says, I'm worried about my offense. He says that they're not going to be a lot of possessions in this game. He said, we need to make every one count. He told me he's most impressed with Wake Forest's heart. I told that to Jim Grobe. He said, I knew they'd come with heart. Now we just have to punch it into the end zone.
1st and 10 from the 20 for Louisville. Thank you, Laura. As George Stripling starts the second half as the lone back with Brohn. Gary Barnidge in motion. And it's Stripling stuck for a 1-yard loss.
You know, Pat, we talked in the first half. I said that one of the things Wake was going to do is try to make Biran Brohn win the game. And you made the comment, he can win it. And he can. And I agree with you. But he's going to have to, because right now they've not been able, with that big offensive line of Louisville, they've not been able to knock Wake Forest off the ball and be able to control the running game like they normally do.
Reminds me a little bit of the Rose Bowl. USC could not run against Michigan in the first half. They abandoned the run in the second half, and John David Booty really won it for the Trojans.
They split Colby Smith out wide. Brohn looking to throw. He's got Garudia who gets stuck. Maybe a gain of 3. Aaron Curry. Curry is a guy that defensive coordinator Dean Hood told us earlier in the week, this is the first guy off the bus for us. This is the guy we want to lead the charge. This is how big we are. This is how bad we are. Spread out.
Yeah, if you're kind of a smallish, wimpy kind of guy like I was, that's the guy you stood next to when you came off the bus, because he looks like a player and he plays like one. A really good player.
And he made a great interception against Georgia Tech in the championship game to help win that game for Wake.
Cardinals have been very good on 3rd down this year. 15th best 3rd down conversion rate in the country. Not this time, and Alphonso Smith is having an MVP-like Orange Bowl tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, Alonzo Smith's been awfully good off the edge tonight. One was on a punt, this time right down here, and nobody blocks him. You know, it's a pretty good thing to block Alphonso Smith, Terry, because he's so quick off the corner. Good corner blitz called by Dean Hood.
I know he plays good off the bench. I might think about starting this guy.
Well, he did at the beginning of the year, but kind of pressed too much, they said.
Louisville goes 3 and out to begin the half. Another near block. And the return starts at the 49. Kenneth Moore tackled just shy of midfield, and Alphonso Smith is all over the field tonight. Welcome back to Miami. Great field position once again for Wake in their first second half possession. Riley Skinner, after a 10-for-13 first half in which he hit his last 6 attempts, looks to throw again on 1st and 10. And he's got a wide open target once more. Willie Idlett near the 30-yard line. Idlett out of bounds at the 31 as they pick on Rod Council, who makes just his 4th start of the year tonight.
I'll tell you, a good route by Willie Idlett, but again, once again, Riley Skinner does a great job of giving himself a chance to get this ball off. Just kind of scrambled out of the pocket a little bit, and then Idlett does a thing a quarterback loves when he comes back to catch the ball and meet it early.
4 receptions, a game-high 63 receiving yards for the track star. On 1st and 10, here's Skinner looking downfield again. This time he dumps it off for a short gainer. Idlett once more tackled at the 30-yard line. But one of these days, one of these punts, we're going to have trouble with Getchy and a corner coming at him.
Yeah, just a moment ago, Alphonso Smith just missed it. Now, if that looks familiar, he missed one in the first half. I mean, it could have been 2 blocked punts by Alphonso Smith.
I tell you, Louisville's punt team has got to find number 2 and get him located and make sure they get a blocker on him, because he's just come dangerously close to blocking a punt, and it's all been back in Louisville's area of the field.
2nd and 8, Belton and Moore in the backfield with Skinner. They reset Zach Selman before the snap. Skinner buying some time, a wide open Nate Morton, touchdown, Demon Deacons. A 30-yard touchdown strike.
Well, Terry, you said, hey, Riley Skinner was, you said it's 10 of 13 in the first half. Let's give him some more chances. But Riley Skinner gets out of the pocket one more time. A very clean route by Nate Morton. Nobody touches him or jams him at the line of scrimmage. A complete breakdown in the Louisville defensive backfield.
I think Riley Skinner's a guy that's heating it up right now, and he may be the difference in taking Wake to a big win here tonight if he can keep hitting those kind of balls.
A 10-10 draw as the Wake Forest Demon Deacons strike first. They strike fast to open the second half. A 3-play, 52-yard drive, just over a minute. Riley Skinner 3 for 3 on the drive, and the big touchdown pass to Nate Morton, his 4th TD catch of the year.
Yeah, you can obviously see why Riley Skinner was the ACC Rookie of the Year. He's played great.
Sam Swank kicks it away. Juwan Spillman, the deep man for Louisville, and he'll take a knee.
These two guys need to step up too. Those two wide receivers.
Brohn with play action, looking for the big bomb. Down the sideline for Harry Douglas. There he is, out of bounds at the 37. Exactly what the Cardinal faithful has been looking for tonight.
Well, I'll tell you, the coach told us, Bobby Petrino said, Wake Forest has not seen the kind of speed that Harry Douglas is going to go. There's the double move. Remember, we talked about that just a little while ago. A little out and up and runs right by Kevin Patterson. A perfect throw by Biran Brohn. So the defense set it up. Biran Brohn delivers.
And how much time did Biran Brohn have to throw that ball? You talk
6
about
seconds.
you talk about protection. What a great job by Louisville's offensive line.
1st and 10 from the 37 after the 50-yard gain. In the air again is Brohn, and this pass is caught by Colby Smith out of the backfield, shy of the 30-yard line.
Yeah, I was just looking at Kurt Quarterman talking about offensive linemen. He's the number 76, one of the guards for Louisville. Great protection that time again by Kurt Quarterman. The guy who came in at nearly 400 pounds is kind of settled in at 328. Named in honorary Clydesdale a little bit earlier in the week. Big old guy that's made that all Big East team.
An additional receiver has checked in for Louisville, Patrick Carter, the junior out of St. Petersburg. Colby Smith and Dariante Taylor in the backfield. This is Colby Smith crossing the 25 and tackled by Patrick G.
It's amazing in football what a big play will do in terms of momentum, changing momentum. All of a sudden, you know, Louisville's backed up on their own 12-yard line. Brohn gets all day long. He finds Douglas down the right sideline, like you say, Pat, on that double move, which was a really smooth, nice-looking move by him. And all of a sudden, Louisville looks like they're back in rhythm again, and Wake's trying to hang on to this two-headed monster.
Running with some confidence behind their 2 all-conference linemen on the right side. 1st and 10 now. Brown's pass is incomplete, intended for Urrutia.
The total yards are kind of indicative of a 10-10 game, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And when Wake Forest is lockstep right there in terms of total offense tonight with Louisville.
But don't you sense that Louisville at any moment can turn it on and get a big play?
You watch that big pass completion to Harry Douglas. That's the kind of stuff they've done all year. Brock Bolden alone back with Brohn. 2nd and 10. For Douglas, complete, shy of a 1st down. Kevin Patterson had the coverage for Wake.
I thought we were talking to Dave Wanstead earlier today. He made a good point. He was talking about Louisville. You know, this Big East conference, it's been a tough conference and a very good conference this year. 3 teams that have a chance of being in the top 15 by the end of the year, and perhaps this is the best one. They won the conference and they have a chance of finishing perhaps the top 5.
3-0 in bowls so far. And Blom hoping the Big East stays undefeated. 3rd and a yard. Again, they go behind the right side of the line, but Anthony Allen is stopped shy of a 1st down. Kevin Patterson came in from corner to apply the tackle.
Well, one thing about the secondary of Wake Forest, they will hit you. Patterson, Swanson, the two safeties, Gaddis, Gee. You can hear this hit all the way up here. Well, that's a nice looking tackle by a cornerback.
Yeah.
You know, you expect your safeties to run support like that. That is a really nice looking tackle.
Yeah, gets a 225-pound short yardage back.
The most accurate field goal kicker in Louisville history, Art Carmody, is no good from 32 yards away. And guess who was in the middle of that one?
Alfonso Smith. Unbelievable off the corner again. Alfonso Smith has effected 2 punts and a kick. Looked like a pretty good snap. Oh, a little slippage, a little delay, and that gave Alfonso Smith a little bit of time to effect the kick.
Well, I don't know that I've seen a special teams guy licking his chops the way Alfonso Smith has been tonight.
Yeah.
Every time he gets on the field, he's made an impact.
You got to find number 2, guys.
And they haven't.
Find number 2 and put a blocker right on him.
Put a big old 76 or something on him.
Moore again. Look at him go. Down the sideline, he is Kenneth Moore. Pushed out of bounds in Louisville territory. Rod Council may have prevented a breakaway TD run. Mark it as a 35-yard gainer for Kenneth Moore in the midst of a huge second half.
You know, late in this third quarter, Terry, Wake Forest has found the secret sauce in the running game. You know, and they've been getting a couple of 2 big runs out of Kenny Moore, and then also Rich Belton, the fullback, had a big run. So they hammered it and hammered it and got stuffed for 3.5 quarters, but they've had 3 big running plays late in the third quarter.
And that helps the throwing game. Once you get balance in your offense, then the quarterback can feel the freedom of the pocket and make big plays for you.
D'Angelo Bryant, the ball carrier, chewing off yardage. Bryant's good for a gain of 8 before being stopped by Malik Jackson.
You know, we talked about Louisville's offensive line, but this offensive line of Wake Forest has come to life. Steve Vallis, the All-American tackle, number 75, a guy that is probably as versatile as any offensive lineman in the country. See him at left tackle there. He plays 2 series at right tackle, and then he'll flip over and play 1 series as the left tackle.
And how about Steve Justice, the center? He plays every play and never comes out of the ball game, and he is a really fine center.
D'Angelo Bryant again right up the middle and tackled at the 25.
Boy, in the second half, have there been a few shifts in momentum with turnovers, with kicks, with the whole way the football game has gone. These are 2 heavyweight fighters slugging it out, if you will, and they are pounding on each other right now.
And a perfect script for Wake Forest, trying to get to the fourth quarter to close game. We said at the very top, they've won 4 games this year in the last minute of the ball game. They're going to get to this fourth quarter, perhaps tied, maybe with the lead.
Bryant still on the field. Bryant, the ball carrier. And he pushes ahead for a gain of 3.
Those direct snaps to their runners, that time to D'Angelo Bryant. They, again, part of their offense, not one of those trick plays. He'll line up in shotgun formation and take it and just run off tackle. You know, Darren McFadden at Arkansas has done it. Derek Williams at Penn State does it some.
Would have never thought coming into this game that Wake Forest would be out-rushing Louisville right now. You know, I just didn't anticipate that. Wake Forest has gotten into the fourth quarter. They've gotten the game just the way they want it. Now Louisville, if they want to be the champion, they've got to respond.
The 5 fingers up in saluting John Abadi, his late brother and family, and Wake Forest has Louisville right where they want them. Healthy and running hog wild tonight. Here's Kevin Marion around the corner, forced out of bounds inside the 20 by Rod Council.
How about Kevin Marion? He is a wide receiver, at least as you look at the roster, but coming in tonight's game, he had 20 carries and only 6 receptions. Again, that's just the style of their offense. They're going to run a lot of reverses, misdirection.
You know, Pat, you mentioned 70 carries for wideouts. A normal season for most football teams, wide receivers might carry the ball 10 times. Put it in perspective, you know. Probably 10 reverses a year.
Well, they had some guys get hurt at running back and said, let's get the ball in the hands of our speedy wide receivers.
This is the friendliest third down conversion opportunity the Dukes have had, and the pass is incomplete.
Well, guys, you talk about a well-coached football game. Louisville's had 1 penalty for 5 yards, and Wake Forest has had 2 penalties for 15 yards. I mean, both of these coaches have really prepared for this game. I think anytime you come into a bowl game and you're really low on the penalty ladder, you've done a great job with your staff preparing your football team to play.
This will be from 36 yards away for Sam Swank. And Swank, true to form this time, is up and good. Beats take a 13-10 lead at the 14:46 mark in the 4th quarter. Let's send you down to the field and check in with Laura.
Matt, you just saw one of the most inspirational stories for Wake Forest, let alone in sports, a few moments ago, heading into the 4th quarter. Every game this year, Wake Forest fans hold up 5 fingers, and that is in honor of Luke Abadi's brother Luke, who was killed in a car accident last February. I'm sitting here right now with his family, with his mother, Mary Ann, his brother Adam, his father Stephen, and he said you've never seen so many 5s.
It was unbelievable. I've never seen so many 5s in my life. It was absolutely, I've never been so honored in my entire life.
I can't even imagine a better definition of the word bittersweet.
Exactly. It's a God moment. It's the moment where just people come together and they're supporting, and it's just amazing.
Can you believe how much it's caught on?
Yeah, it's very bittersweet, but I'm so moved by the support of all the Wake people and really just the football community.
You've been so wonderful, your whole family, about letting us all invade your privacy. How has this Orange Bowl been? I know how much you've talked about how much Luke would have wanted to be here.
Luke would have loved every moment of this, and he is here today. We say number 5's alive. Thank you.
We'll be alive forever.
It's here.
Thank you so much. I'll let you enjoy the game. You've been so wonderful. Thank you, Abadi family.
Laura, thanks. Really one of the uplifting stories here at the FedEx Orange Bowl this year. And John Abadi is playing with all kinds of inspiration tonight. 9 tackles as Juwan Spillman bobbles the kick and is able to bring it back to the 20-yard line.
You know, one of the things I liked about John Abadi when we met with him just the other day, Terry, he was talking to us, he said, hey, not only, he said, what do you have to do? So we've got to stop the run. And that's where most guys end it. But he said, not only are we going to stop the run, we've got to stop the stretch play. We've got to stop the dart play and the counter play. I mean, he was very, very specific of what they needed to do in stopping Louisville's run.
Well, he's instinctive. You lead your team 3 years in a row in tackles. You're getting around the football. You diagnose plays well. This guy can read and diagnose.
Play action, Brock keeps looking down center field, and he has Eric Douglas for a first down.
Yeah, but he would have had Mario Urrutia for a touchdown.
Boy, I agree, Pat. He missed that. Biran Brohn, when he looks at this film, he's going to regret. He had a wide open Urrutia right down the middle of the field for a touchdown. I promise you, the coaches in the press box, they saw that. They'll probably come back to that.
We don't know what Biran Brohn saw, but it looked like he was at least gazing in the direction of Urrutia, and for some reason went to the secondary target there. Urrutia has had a rough night. Brohn swings it out here to Colby Smith, who gets away from a tackle, has a first down and more. G and Abadi finally trip him up at the 35.
Colby Smith is a good all-around back. 4th in the team in receptions. 24th catch on the year for Colby Smith. Good, productive runner. Remember, one of those guys, one of the trio filling in for the injured Michael Bush. He had to adjust to that ball, then he broke a tackle, then some speed. See how he switched the ball to get to the ball to the outside hand. Did a lot of good things on that run.
Ducked right underneath Stanley Arnoux and broke off a 19-yard gainer as Brohm has come back with an impressive second half tonight, to the surprise of no one watching at home. There's Urrutia. Taken out of bounds by Riley Swanson, shy of a first down.
Boy, it's a nice job by Louisville responding to the drive of Wake Forest and the score by Wake Forest on the three-point kick there. All of a sudden, Louisville feels that sense of urgency. They're on the sideline, they're looking up there and saying, hey, we've got a real dogfight here, but they're responding. I mean, this is a big-time team. They've been in tough games before. They have responded. They just got to get that ball in the end zone.
Not too many times, though. They have been not in too many dogfights. They've blown a lot of people out this year.
Douglas in motion in a double tight end set. This is Anthony Allen. This is actually Brohn keeping the football and finding Brock Bolin. Bolin marked out of bounds at the 15. First down inside the red zone for the Cardinals.
Brock Bolin, the fullback, is the guy that slips out of the backfield. It's a nice job by Biran Brohn finding his fullback. It's a little play action fake. He's got good protection. He finds that fullback in the flat. It's a nice throw. He puts the ball right where he wants to. And then that big old fullback turns it upfield. Now that's a load turning up on you.
Bolin the lone back here. And Bolin bruises ahead for a gain of 3 before being stopped by Aaron Curry.
Yeah, Paul Petrino, the offensive coordinator, also the brother of Bobby, who said, hey, we like Brock Bolin as a single back, and sometimes when we want to mash it, we just put him back there by himself and feed it to him.
That's a big physical fullback there. Dean Hood, the defensive coordinator from Wake Forest, right now he's thinking, just don't give up 7 points. You know, Wake Forest has been really good in the red zone, scoring defense, 10th nationally. They're really good down in here. They've made big plays all year long. He's thinking, give up a field goal, but not a touchdown.
Brohn sells the play fake again into the corner and incomplete. Boy, Riley Swanson had Mario Urrutia absolutely blanketed in the corner of the end zone.
You know, why did they throw it up to Mario Urrutia? Well, he's 6'6". You know, just tremendous size advantage over virtually every defensive back in the league. Swanson, a good player, tall player. He's only 5'11". He's got 7 inches on him.
And Urrutia is a basketball player. He's got leaping ability as well, you know, so you're not just talking about a tall receiver. You're talking about one that really can leap. He was a forward in high school basketball.
Well, here he is again up here at the top.
3rd and 7.
Oop, had some.
And around the corner is Colby Smith, knocked out of bounds inside the 5. They mark him out at the 1.5-yard line. Aaron Curry forced him out of bounds and prevented the touchdown.
You know, they picked up the first, right? But the way he was running, I thought it was Anthony Allen, the big physical back, the freshman, the short yardage guy, but it was Colby Smith.
Well, it's hard to keep track of these backs. You've got Smith coming at you. You've got Anthony Allen. You've got Bolin coming at you. Stripling. I mean, there's a lot of guys coming at you if you're playing defense for Wake.
It's Allen back there now. Allen, the ball carrier, stopped shy of the goal line. No, on second look, they signal touchdown. It looked like the play was dead, and the line judge came in and said touchdown.
Just remember, any part of that ball that crosses any part of that white line where the end zone begins is a touchdown. It's the ball. Where is the ball?
Oh, boy, that's a tough one to look at. And it looked like the motor had stopped, but Allen kept the legs pumping to keep the play alive.
Well, John Russell hit him early. I don't think his legs are down. His knee's down there. And he kept moving and churning. John Russell, number 51 from Wake Forest, drilled him early, but the churning legs of Anthony Allen get in the end zone.
The Carmody PAT is good. And with that, Louisville takes a 17-13 lead. 12.5 minutes left here at the FedEx Orange Bowl. Well, Louisville went into this 4th quarter tied. This is Kevin Marion at the goal line. Hit hard at the 15-yard line. Ball popped out. So now it's Riley Skinner and the Deacon Demons at the 15 with Belton and Moore in the backfield. Kenneth Moore is in the midst of a fine second half rushing. Pass is complete to Rich Belton, stuck at the 12-yard line by Abe Brown. A loss of 3 yards on the play.
Yeah, these outside linebackers for Louis, Honest Abe Brown and Malik Jackson. They've had a big year for the Cardinals. You mentioned the BCS championship game on Monday. The Cardinals are hoping to win this thing tonight, be a top 5 team in the preseason polls next year, and perhaps challenge.
Louisville playing in its 9th straight bowl game tonight.
First BCS game.
And they have had no success at all in this state as that pass is batted around. It looked like it was intended for Nate Morton, and Skinner may have decided if he had a second chance to hang on to it, because Adrian Grady was all draped on him when he made that throw.
Yeah, Adrian Grady's been draped on Riley Skinner a lot today.
Yeah, that was a really nice power rush right there by Grady. He just lowered his shoulder pads, got underneath the offensive blocker, and just pushed him into the quarterback.
Was that leverage again? Was that leverage
It's a different
thing?
kind of leverage,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's leverage.
I thought it was leverage. Big play or big down right here for Wake Forest.
And another 3rd and long for the Demon Deacons.
Yeah, it's a common theme.
They are 3 of 9 on 3rd down tonight. 3rd and 11. They hand it off to Belton, who comes close to but shy of a Wake Forest 1st down.
A surprising call for me. 3rd and 11. I know they've had some success running the football, but a surprising call. Riley Skinner's been pretty good.
So on comes the punting unit. It's a 10-yard gain on the run, falling just short of a 1st down.
You wouldn't dare call a fake punt here, would you,
Well,
Coach?
you know, I don't like the formation for fake punts. I do like fake punts, but I don't like this formation particularly. But, you know, they sometimes move their punter to the right. Sometimes they move the launch point for the punter if they expect to block.
Guy and Spillman are deep for Louisville. They let it bounce. It takes a decidedly Wake bounce. And they're going to mark it at the 26.
I'm not sure where they're going to mark it.
We're sure of this. We'll be back with 10:22 left.
Physically tough, and the guy that makes plays, Garcia, makes plays for you. He came off the bench now for Philly.
He's always having more fun than he is right now.
He loves it. He loves it.
George Stripling alone back with Bromir on 1st and 10. This is among Louisville's best starting field position today, believe it or not. Stripling hammered for a loss. John Abadi.
Yeah, John Abadi just has a feel for, you know, penetration and blitzing, and then when he gets there, the ball carrier always seems to go down. You know, a guy that 105 tackles on the year. He's right in here. Is that Abadi? No, this is Abadi. Excuse me. Had the wrong guy circled. There's Abadi. Just kind of runs, and look who's trying to run right through. Foster at 325 pounds.
And he leveraged that one now. You saw those shoulder pads. He was underneath that big offensive lineman.
You know, the thing with John Abadi is he doesn't have what the scouts might look at first glance in terms of the NFL, because he's a smaller linebacker. That pass is complete. They find Jimmy Riley for a gain up to the 34-yard line, and it's Abadi on the tackle again, a pickup of 11 yards. But I want to get back to Abadi, Coach, because smaller guy. You know, there's a pretty good undersized middle linebacker that plays here in Miami on the NFL level, by the way, who some people have been reminded of when they watch John Abadi go to work.
Well, there's no question about it, but John Abadi in the NFL is going to be in the lower 5% of players at his position in terms of his height. So he's got a lot to overcome at the NFL level. He's a great college football player, but it doesn't always translate to pro football.
He sure doesn't stay blocked, I'll say that. They block him initially, but he doesn't stay blocked.
Brohn's pass is caught by Harry Douglas, who's taken down at the 42 by Kevin Patterson.
I thought that guy was holding his nose on for a second.
I tell you, Brohn is starting to really heat it up here in the second half. I've got him for 14 of 17 in the second half, and he's all of a sudden really come to life here, and he's moved this Cardinal team, and in the second half has certainly been a lot better for their entire offense, but particularly for him.
Don't you expect it of him, though?
Yeah.
You know, great quarterbacks don't get discouraged. Find a way somehow to make the plays to win the game.
Harry Douglas with 137 yards tonight has become the most prolific Louisville pass catcher in history. This is Anthony Allen in a non-goal line situation.
You know, going back to Harry Douglas, when we watched him practice, he's a glider. He comes out of his breaks. He just glides. He's a beautiful looking athlete, catching the ball, and he is so quick when he plants and comes out of breaks. He's a real factor. And I love just the way when I watch him, I just love the way he runs and looks as an athlete.
You've got him on one side and a completely different kind of receiver on the other side in Mario Urrutia. That's why a big, tall guy. And,
such a great duo.
2nd and 9 here. Play action. Brohn looking into center field again. There's Harry Douglas once more down at the 35-yard line.
Give him heck, Harry. I mean, how about another one of those deep crossing routes by Harry Douglas?
And doesn't Biran Brohn tell you that that's one of his favorite routes to throw? But deep crossing route?
But if he doesn't stumble, you know, he's off to Churchill Downs. He scores, I think.
22-yard pickup for Harry Douglas, who's gotten so hot here. We got to hose him down.
Like practice the other day.
Boy, and you love the relationship again with him and Urrutia. And Urrutia told us earlier, if Douglas is the Steve Smith, Urrutia is the Plaxico Burress, if we may draw NFL comparisons. Into the corner of the end zone. Urrutia, and it's broken up. Riley Swanson has been in his kitchen all night.
You know, Riley Swanson, think about who he's had to guard the last 2 games. He had Calvin Johnson in the ACC championship game, the great receiver from Georgia Tech, and then another big, tall guy right here. Now that was face guarding, but in face guarding, in college football, that is not pass interference when you get your hands up in the receiver's face.
And that's exactly right, Pat. In pro football, that is pass interference. That's the difference in the rules right there between the college game and the pro game.
2nd and 10, Bolin and Smith in the background. This is Smith, who is met head on and quite squarely by Jeremy Thompson.
Talk about how Louisville is going to have a good ball club next year. How about this Wake Forest team? This is not kind of a, you know, one-shot deal. Jim Groves has 16 returning starters next year. He's, you know, put his program in place. This is the 6th year he's been the head coach there. Redshirted all those guys. A lot of young guys coming back. This is going to be a pretty good football team next year as well.
And a guy who loves it, Winston-Salem. 3rd and 9 now. Brohm's pass is caught by Jimmy Riley.
Boy, what a nice job by Riley fighting to get the first down. That ball not necessarily was going to make it to the chains, and I tell you, he was determined to get that ball all the way to the first down marker. This is a really good run after the catch. One of the things Wake Forest talked about is tackling those receivers. Don't give them yards after the catch. On this particular play, Louisville won that battle.
Jimmy Riley caught a total of 8 passes during the regular season. But a big first down reception here as Biran Brohn is up over 300 yards of passing now. The Michael Bush-less Louisville Cardinals all year long. Play action. And Brohm's pass is caught by Harry Douglas down shy of a first down as Kevin Patterson had the coverage for Wake.
Another good tackle by Kevin Patterson.
Really a good diagnose, too, by Kevin Patterson. You know, Louisville tried to slip that receiver out in the flat, and Patterson closed on that ball. That was an excellent defensive play.
2nd and 4 now.
You see the people huddling around Bobby Petrino so nobody can read his lips about what play he's sending in.
If I see another coach at any level with a flip card in front of their mouth to prevent the lip readers from doing their jobs, oh, my goodness. It's the big fullback, Brock Bolin. It's sprung for an 18-yard touchdown run, and it's a 2-score game.
You know, he catches the ball well, he runs, he blocks. When they have perimeter runs, it's usually Bolin who's leading the way. And it's a concerned Wake Forest student, as he should be.
How about the right side, Pat, of this offensive line? That's about 320 pounds coming off you per man. And they were able that time to just knock a hole in that gutty Wake Forest defense. But they gashed him on that play.
You're right. Scott Kuhn, I think, made a backup tight end, made a great block.
The Carmody PAT is good. Brock Bolin's 2nd career rushing TD's a big one as the Cardinals take a 24-13 lead. As the Cardinals continue to do Louisville proud tonight. A great scoring drive engineered by Biran Brohn and capped off by the Brock Bolin touchdown run as Todd Flannery's ready to kick it away here with 4:57 left.
A 2-score game, 11 points, need a touchdown, 2-point play, and a field goal. Bingo, tied.
Kicking off from the 50 after the penalty, and one that will land predictably out of the back of the end zone.
But you know, you define, as a quarterback, I think you define yourself in moments like these.
Boy, a redshirt freshman who already has arguably a signature win this year. Looking for some comeback magic tonight. None to be had on this play as Amobi Okoye comes in to drop him for a loss.
You know, Amobi Okoye immigrated to this country from Nigeria when he was 12 years old, right here in the middle. But he said this week, when he saw his very first football game, American football game, when he lived in Nigeria, he said, why do these guys keep attacking one another? Didn't quite understand the game.
Skinner's pass is caught by D'Angelo Bryant, who gets across the 20. Well, for more on the great Amobi Okoye story, let's go back down to Laura Oakman.
Here's all you need to know about Amobi. 2 years ago, he met a 6-year-old boy named Chase at a Louisville hospital after he underwent brain surgery. 2 years later, I'm so happy to say Chase is fine. He's at the game. They're great friends. He calls Amobi before every game, gives him words of inspiration. Before this game, he told him, play your heart out. You and I both know you have the biggest heart out there.
Willie Idolette with the reception around midfield, getting past Okoye and the rest of the Louisville Cardinals defensively. Laura, thanks. But here we have the Demon Deacons perhaps with one last opportunity to stay in the ballgame, completing a big pass.
Pat, you said, you know, quarterbacks distinguish themselves at times like this. Riley Skinner is under tremendous pressure right now because that Louisville defense is just teeing off. They know that Wake Forest has to move the ball and move it throwing. And I'll tell you what, he's playing really lights out. This guy can move around the pocket. He's smart. He makes good decisions.
Skinner chased by Zach Anderson, has to throw it away.
Well, you know, unfortunately, he's got to do it twice, right?
Right.
2 times to get his team back in it. To finish the story on Okoye, you mentioned he graduated 2 weeks ago at age 19. You know, signed a letter of intent when he was age 15. And, you know, had 3 solid seasons, but his senior seasons, Amobi Okoye has really played well.
Let's check in again with Laura.
I asked him why he thought he was playing so well. Ready to feel old, you guys? He told me, just aging.
Yeah. How you feel, Terry?
Oh, I feel good.
Just aging at 19. Skinner's pass is caught. Despite the shot, Kevin Marion's able to hang on. And Riley Skinner looks like he was hurt on the play. 13-yard gain. That'll move the chains.
Hey, what I'm impressed with Riley Skinner is how he just kind of hangs in there against the rush and delivers it.
He's cool. He's really cool. This guy will sit in the pocket. The heat doesn't seem to really affect him. He'll step up in the pocket. He'll move to the side, but he's courageous.
The eyes always downfield.
Clock rolling at 3:18 and counting. And off to a secondary target is John Tereshinski. His second reception of the game. Abe Brown moves him out of bounds at around the 35. A gain of 4 on the play. And now time is really the biggest enemy for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons here. They've got a 2nd and 6, just over 3 minutes left.
And Louisville's going to give them some of those passes. They're going to play in a soft defense, rush 4 guys, sometimes 3.
2 very, very deep safeties.
They rush 4 here. Skinner's pass is incomplete, intended for Tereshinski again, who looked like he had gotten behind a corner.
Yeah, I think it was that long arm. Terry was talking about the long arms of William Gay. I think he kind of knocked that one away.
Well, you can sense that the Louisville bench, you know, on a stop here, they're going to get a little froggy. They can sense how close they are to a FedEx Orange Bowl victory. Just over 3 minutes left on the game clock. 3rd and 6. Skinner hangs in. He had a receiver. It's intercepted by William Gay. He tried to get it to Zach Selman. Gay was there.
You know, 2 really good corners played well today. One for Louisville, William Gay, and one for Wake Forest, Alfonso Smith. But William Gay, Terry, has been close to about 2 or 3 interceptions this afternoon.
Yeah, he's an outstanding looking defensive back, and I think Riley Skinner will learn a lot from that interception, Pat. As you know, quarterbacks grow when they make mistakes and when they make good plays. This ball just doesn't have enough steam on it. He had an open receiver. He just didn't lead him quite enough, just not enough arm strength, but really a nice play by William Gay.
Gay's team-leading 6th interception of the year. And that's all but going to ice things down here with the clock rolling at 2:36 and counting. Double tight end set in there for Louisville. The hand to Colby Smith, tackled at the 21-yard line.
I think you got to give Louisville an awful lot of credit. They came back when they needed to come back. They showed their true grit, really, when this game was on the line.
Well, you can see the long faces and the disappointment on the Wake sideline. 2:22 left, a 2-score advantage here for Louisville. On 2nd and 4, Colby Smith has a first down and more for the Cardinals. Tackled shy of the 40 by Patrick G.
Well, Patrick G, one of the, I think, interesting stories for Wake Forest. Their strong safety, graduated in 3 years with a degree in computer science, and ended up getting his master's, or will this year, his master's in computer science as well. Think he'll come back, Terry? Think Biran Brohn will be back?
You know, I'm just not sure. You know, I think he enjoys being coached by his brother.
Yeah.
Louisville's going to have a heck of a team
sure
next
are.
year. And, you know, if Michael Bush comes back and they, you know, and they're sitting there with Anthony Allen.
Yeah, they're going to have a chance to compete for it all.
Boy, and Louisville is such a special program for the Brohn family. Brian's dad played at Louisville. His 2 brothers played at Louisville. Of course, his older brother Jeff's his quarterbacks coach now. Had a great career there collegiately. This is Colby Smith, tackled at the 40-yard line by Alfonso Smith. Colby Smith takes the carry. Just stopped at the 42-yard. Terry, we talk about what Wake Forest has overcome. You know, Louisville is well en route to a FedEx Orange Bowl victory here today. These guys lose a Heisman Award candidate in the season opener. They were without Biran Brohn for 2 games. They, too, have really overcome a lot to get here.
No question about it. Michael Bush arguably was the best back in college football when he got here.
This is Brock Bolin up ahead at the 47-yard line as time continues to tick away on the Wake Forest Demon Deacons tonight. For the Louisville Cardinals, this would be their first BCS victory in their first BCS Bowl appearance. .31 seconds left. Colby Smith, the ball carrier. He stopped. Giles Tucker making the tackle for Wake. And if this game is going to end, it's going to end with the Wake offense perhaps on the field.
Bobby's still coaching right to the very end.
You bet. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you wouldn't punt that ball. I guess number 2, you'd worry about number 2 coming around, you know.
And a block, yeah.
But normally you'd punt that ball in that situation.
Well, Louisville is going to finish the season with their first ever top 5 ranking in the polls. Skinner's pass is caught on the sideline by John Tereshinski. He wants a flag. He wants some help on the sideline. They're not stopping yet. Wake wants to keep going. But that's going to do it tonight. Congratulations to Bobby Petrino and the Louisville Cardinals. Winners in the 73rd annual FedEx Orange Bowl. You know, 5-6 years ago, if you had talked about Louisville winning a BCS game, you'd have thought that the Louisville Cardinals, would have been the Cinderella story. They're a power now in college football.
Yeah, they are no longer the little engine that could. They're among the elite in college football.
But 20 years ago, this was a program that was on the verge of losing its Division 1A status. Just a few years ago, they played in the less competitive Conference USA, and what a job Bobby Petrino has done here in Louisville. Do stay with us. The trophy presentation and the MVP to be revealed when we come back.
First coach, the Big East champions, and now the champions of the 73rd annual FedEx Orange Bowl game. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Louisville fans. Woo!
Coach, a school record, 12 wins. You're finishing in the top 10 for the second time in 3 years. Is there any question this program is now a perennial power?
Well, we are. We're getting there, no question about it, and we're so happy to be in the Orange Bowl. Just a first-class organization. Everybody that worked for the Orange Bowl did a great job, and thank you very much.
You know, late in the season, Louisville, West Virginia, Rutgers, all unbeaten. Everybody said, yeah, but they're in the Big East. What do you say to everybody now?
What's the Big East record in the bowl game?
That would be 4-0.
4-0, you bet.
You know, Coach, I know it was an outstanding effort, obviously. Defensively, offensively, Harry Douglas had a great game, but you got a real special kid in your quarterback, Biran Brohn.
Yeah, Brian had a great game, but I'm so proud of our entire team. That's what's made us strong all year long, is that we played good offense, good defense, and special teams came through, and we're a good team, and that's been our strength.
Coach, congratulations. Mad Vasgersian, back to you.
Chris, thanks. Only Tom Brady and Matt Leinart have thrown for more FedEx Orange Bowl yardage than Brian Brohm's 311 yards tonight. So for Pat Hayden, Terry Donahue, and Laura Oakman, this is Matt Vasgersian saying so long from Miami. You've been watching Fox Sports, your home for the Bowl Championship Series. Happy New Year, everybody.